Today's episode is brought to you by Modern Grower. Modern Grower is your source for time and labor-saving farm tools, such as the PaperPot Transplanter, Quick Click Seeder, and the Jang Direct Seeder. Turn laborsome tasks into free time with tools by Modern Grower.
One thing we talked about previously, and you got me thinking about it now today, was climate change and how this affects things. So you have climate change happening, warming, and you have areas that are becoming, maybe warmer sooner, warmer later, warmer during the course of the season. And at the same time, you go back to like the tropics where organic matter is being volatilized faster. So if you heat everything up, you're burning more energy, but if you have warmer temperatures for longer, your yield potential goes up, so you can potentially sequester more carbon. How do those two fight against each other?
It's very good. You must have a PhD, and good job. So temperature, it plays a critical role. Remember that as temperature goes up, everything is expedited. We sweat when it's hot. Plants do the same thing. So the cycle, to explain this trade-off that you're saying, climate change, there are winners and losers, right? I've done some work in Siberia, and it's a potential big benefit because you have a much longer season. Does it mean that in the middle of the summer it doesn't get hot? No, it gets hotter. What does it mean? They will still expedite development during that time. So the answer to your question is adaptation. Adaptation through new cultivars. So if you use the same cultivar that is getting warmer and you only planted earlier because you know it's warmer, you're running short at the end. You're not taking advantage because the faster development that occurs, the degree days, the heat units that the plant has to accumulate, it will accumulate it no matter what. That will accumulate it, now in August instead of, mid-September if you anticipate. But if you have a much longer duration cultivar, then now you are sequestering a much greater yield. In fact, if you simulate a long duration cultivar, you basically have a much longer time to grow. And so if you quickly allow me to explain, the plant does two processes. It grows and it develops. The development is the cycle. It's the duration of how long it stays on the ground. That's set by genetics. Okay. That's set by a number of degree days that is set. If it gets hot, those degree days are reached much quicker because the degree days are calculated as the air temperature minus the temperature that we call base temperature, the temperature below which the plant does not develop, stays in the same phenological stages, doesn't go to the next phase. Growth is the accumulation of biomass, is a physical weight accumulation, more, heavier, basically kilograms accumulated. So back to the 10 pizza and 100 pizza, instead of the selection, if you and I, go have I have 10 minutes to eat as much as I want and you have an hour, you will always eat more because you have an hour. So that hour is the longer growing cycle that you have because of a cooler, possibility of not reaching those degree days in a much longer period of time. And so the higher the temperature, the shorter the cycle, the shorter the plants are going to be on that, the lower probability of the lower accumulation of photosynthesis. They're just less on that piece of land. They sequester less carbon through photosynthesis. So to your question is adaptation is if you use now a genetics that allows you to anticipate your planting, you cannot necessarily eliminate the heat in the middle of the summer, but you have now a longer period and you could sequester more and return more carbon into the soils. But
so kind of in a perverse way, we can use global warming to our advantage to pull carbon out.
Exactly. Yeah. Certainly it is. And the places in the north are benefiting. Do they say is the corn belt already now? If you see the shift, the amount of corn that is grown in North Dakota, Minnesota, going into Canada, Saskatchewan. The word Saskatchewan, what's first thing cold? But it's just getting there. And so that's a benefit. Was it the same amount of carbon sequestered before you had corn there? Far from it. because the amount of biomass that are sequestered, right, is much greater. So that's exactly, they're winners. And does it get harder in places like, unfortunately, it's always like this, it's the harder place will get worse, and so the more vulnerable areas are the ones that are already kind of in a more dire situation, because more heat, more storms, greater humidity in the atmosphere. Creates obviously these extreme events and so on. That is negative, in addition to the higher temperature, which expedites decompositions and low organic matter at the moment in the soils.
Hello, growers. Protect your crops from harmful insects with Modern Growers Insectanet. This top-tier insect netting made by Modern Grower shields your plants from pests and harsh weather, boosting your yields without harmful sprays. Insectanet's unique design allows 90% of the light to pass through and is easy to use with low tunnel systems like our Quick Hoops. It's soft, elastic, and durable, perfect for field use to help ensure that your crops thrive. Say goodbye to pest damage and hello to healthier, market-ready produce. Invest in Insectanet and see the difference it makes. Get Insectanet at shop.moderngrower.co or using the link below.